right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Here we are with the New Earth Co-Creators podcast again. Deb is not going to be with us today, so it's just me, your host, and Peter Paul Parker, who's your other host.
Hey.
Yes, so we're both here. And so we were just talking about a topic that has been pretty, present, especially in Facebook conversations about frequency. And there were a lot of people who were, especially within the spiritual communities, that are now coming out and saying, this is not right, this is new age, this is this, and you guys need to free yourself from this. And I'm just there, I'm like, okay. So it started out with a conversation with someone who said that light language, like she's like, I'm calling BS on this. I don't even know, how to explain that or what to do with it. There's no evidence that the people who speak it or sing it or bring it into existence are actually like really connected to an entity that speaks truth. The same with another friend of mine. She was calling out certain frequency devices. It's like a stick thing. I don't know. I have no clue what she was talking about, but she's like, yeah, some of those devices, if we're not careful, can actually send out frequencies that rather harm than do good, or that manipulate. Now we know with everything that's going on in the world, there is a lot of manipulation through frequency, and that includes 5G. 5G can, or higher. Actually, on my phone, when I go to places where it connects to internet, it says 6G. It doesn't even say 5G. And now they're already promoting 10G. So that's something else, but it definitely has an impact, right? It's all frequency. If it's through language, if it's through sound, if it's anything that you don't even hear or see, just like your phone frequencies that are constantly sent out. And let me tell you, if you guys want to do an experiment, there has been on TikTok. Now I don't have TikTok, but I watched that one. They had popcorn. They had corn kernels in the middle of the table, and then placed 3 phones around those, and then called the 3 phones at the same time, and the corn popped. It became popcorn.
Oh my goodness.
That
Wow.
is the frequency your phone sends out when it is actually like in working mode, like when it's on, when it's turned on, when it keeps sending these signals and uploading and notifications and calls. So if anyone wants to do an experiment and get back to us, let us know how it worked out. But I thought that was really interesting because those people didn't want to believe it. That's true. But here we are, frequency, right? And I know with your music and Qigong, it's a lot about frequency and how we can shift our frequency. Now, what is your opinion on certain devices, or even meditation music that you can find on YouTube? A lot of people go back to that to listen to some of it. We see it. There's so many different channels who say frequency for abundance and wealth, frequency for healing, certain things. And there are some really incredible channels on YouTube, no doubt about it. I found quite a few that are really incredible. But what is your opinion on that?
I'm going to do the 5G thing first, because I worked with Dr. Ollie Johansson. He actually asked me if I could write a paper with him. I didn't actually get around to it because I thought I had the enormous imposter syndrome at the time. But he was working out the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm, Sweden, and he was writing all these papers, not against 5G, just Wi-Fi, saying the detrimental effects of Wi-Fi on us. And I absolutely 100% agree with him, because it's like we have a natural radiation in the background which we deal with as human beings. So the way that our cells work and the way that our cells spin, we just naturally adapt to it, and it's our bodies are just remarkable beings. The problem with these, which you just demonstrated with the phones, is that this is a pulsed frequency, and when it comes in directly into the phone and it's pulsed, it will start to cause damage, and it causes cellular damage, which is that cooking of the popcorn. But it's not really cooking. It's like a microwave cooking. And really, we need to be addressing this. We in our household we drink a lot of ginger. We also take iodine supplements. We eat a lot of greens to help protect ourselves from that. And I remember when I was thought I was really becoming techie and getting really cool. Everything was wireless, and I found myself getting really tired and ill very quickly. Took all the wireless stuff away. I was fine.
My computer is hardwired. It's not on Wi-Fi. Yeah. But then my phone is Wi-Fi, so it's not so great. But we have a lot of things in place. So that's another thing. There's a lot of protective gear out there, like stickers, that are supposed to absorb. I have a
little triangle. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Q-link, Organite.
yeah, that's right.
On the phone as well. You got little stickers on the phone.
I do too. And it's really hard to distinguish what is real and what is not real, right? I have some on the computer, like here's mine. Let's see, on the phone.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's legitimate. There's a concern. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody's trying to sell something and they're super expensive. And how do you know that it's actually working? Well, with the stickers itself, we actually did the test with the measuring thing. I don't know how you exactly call it, honestly, where you can measure the frequency and the EMF output when you have it on, when you put, a silver lining over it, or when you have a sticker on. So it did really make a difference. I don't use my phone next to my head anyway. I always have a wired headphones. I do not use the AirPods or anything Bluetooth. I do not use that because it's like putting your head in a microwave. So I don't do that. But it is interesting. And what I have also learned, when you have those devices, including the Healy that I have, it's right now over there working its thing, I was very skeptical. Like, how do we know that this technology is actually really working? There is another one, X39, which is a little sticker that you put on your back or anywhere, and it's light energy. It initiates your stem cell regeneration through light, through the frequency. So there's always this, there's so much, and how can we trust it? One thing, and that's, I don't know if you have used that before, so let me know how it works for you, but it's muscle testing. And for anyone who does not know how it works, I'm going to give you a little lesson here. You just use your fingers. You can do it any way. You can do it this way, just have your hand like this and then pull your finger through when you ask yourself a specific question. That doesn't work for me very well. I rather just intertwine the two like this and then pull. So for example, let's see, an easy question is, like, I have coffee here. Is this coffee good for me? Or this coffee, like, you need to make a statement instead of a question. This coffee is good for me and for my health. Well, it's decaf mushroom coffee, so it's not really. So yes. But sometimes you could have things in your food, in your supplements, that do not align with your body, but it may align with my husband's body. So it's very individualized. Our son knows how to muscle test. He does it with food and everything. And so I've done the same with, devices that I use, with the stickers that I use. Is this really beneficial to me? With the orgone that I use, is it actually working? It's actually hot, so it does really absorb the frequencies. And I don't know, have you tried doing that?
I've done muscle testing, and we did it with the map of consciousness. You can be careful what you say about that, because that's really heavily copyrighted by David Dawkins. So what you do is you scream out a low level consciousness, like, I am jealous, I am jealous, I am jealous. And you test the arm. The arm goes down, but you say, I am love, I am love, I am love. And it's almost like the Bruce Lee's immovable arm, where you
with the arm, you use it, you do it with someone else, right?
Yeah, because somebody else. Yeah. With the fingers, I've found it difficult to get that to work for myself. But with the arms, it works amazingly, and it just shows you what your intention, how powerful your intention is. Because if you're really intending, I'm really jealous, you're really weak. Your body becomes really weak with that low level vibration. But when you say your love, which is one of the higher vibrations, you become very strong and powerful. So it's the same with the chakra frequencies. When you go up the 7 chakras, you've got like red. I go with the colors of the spectrum, because it was Sir Isaac Newton, who was part of the mystery school teachings in England, great physicist as well, but he invented the word indigo for the 6th chakra, because there wasn't a color indigo at that point, apparently. So from the Rosicrucian studies that I've done on Rosicrucianism, it was that indigo color that he created. But the frequencies, if you think about the waveform frequencies, the low red is a long, slow, heavy frequency, which shows weight, and the violets and the indigos up the top, very quick frequencies. So we are literally frequency in our body.
It makes sense with the red, right? Because the low is the grounding one. It's supposed to be slower and more, grounding. And then the one is the antenna.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
the divine antenna. It sends out signals every day. Yeah.
So we should be a pyramid. That's our ideal situation. What's happened now is we've got so much information coming into our head. We are now an upside down pyramid. It's too much in the head. Why the head gets hot, and the head doesn't work properly when it's hot. It's supposed to be a cool head, and you're supposed to have a warm abdomen, which is fire down. We call it fire down. Water up, cool head, fire down, fire in the abdomen. Yep. So you've got a heavy base. And what this Wi-Fi, I feel, does to me, and also some bad frequencies will disturb that tremendously. So therefore, you cannot actually get your power back. You feel exhausted all the time, which is why I think a lot of people are becoming exhausted, but also why I think there's so many different ailments coming in, so many different diseases into humanity, is partly, or maybe a lot, to do with, this is why it needs to be researched, with these electromagnetic frequency fields that are being beamed into us.
Yeah.
So I think that there needs to be a lot of research on that. But in answering your question about the sounds and the sound healing, I used tuning forks on people. Well, I still do now when I do sound toning sessions, sound healing sessions. And I didn't believe it at first, but when I was doing the chakra systems with the chakra tones, I was going, wow, I'm clearing these people's chakras. And in the solfeggio tones, which I was very skeptical of because they were channeled, and it's difficult to know where your channeling is coming from. I actually agree with that. Well, where does that come from? But when you got to find your own empirical evidence. That's you. That's your job to decipher this. Nobody else. You can't have some guru telling you what to do. You have to do it for yourself. But you can be guided to that position. And when I did the solfeggio tones, I went and I spoke to the client after the session. It was exactly where the issues were in their solfeggio tones, were the issues happening in their life. And they said, well, actually, I feel a lot better about that now. It feels a lot clearer. I think I can sort that out. And you go, wow, how did that just happen? It was all to do with frequency.
Yeah.
And the trouble with it being online, firstly, it's recorded. So we did some experiments by recording with open focus meditations, by recording binaural beats.
Mm-hmm.
And what we found was when we used the waveform, which was a lot more complex form, WAV, I think they're called WAV files, wave files. The binaural beat worked. When we used MP3s, which is what most sound frequencies are being uploaded onto the internet, it was nowhere near as effective. And in fact, I don't think it was very good at all, because the actual quality of the frequency had been diminished. It had come down. So if you are going to use that, you need to get WAV files, WAV files, which are a lot bigger. So a decent, say, hours long solfeggio tone, for instance, would be hundreds of megabytes, if not going up to gigabytes of quality of sound. We use them actually in the bedroom, going to bed. We've got Jonathan Goldman's actually Holy Harmony, beautiful. He does solfeggio tones, and then we have my own creation of a solfeggio tone going on afterwards for about an hour.
It's what is this? Holy Harmony?
Holy Harmony, Jonathan Goldman's album. Okay. And it's beautiful to go to sleep with, because he's just singing. He's singing a mantra, but you don't really. And it's an hour of the same thing. It's a beautiful piece of music. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of music, and it's just an hour of him going, It's a very simple minor melodic structure, which is, again, your second and third chakras are like minor melodies. So
Yeah.
minor and
Same
major.
with not mantras. When you have the sounds like
Yeah.
if you try it, it tickles your forehead. So it opens
Yeah.
your third your third eye chakra, right? Yeah. I always
Yeah.
find that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, even on YouTube, like I love to meditate with music, and it doesn't even have to be a certain frequency. But when I do, it's like the frequency of music, really, it's almost like a wave that carries me, and it allows me to just let go of my body and just go with the flow.
Mm.
And so what I do when I do pick something on YouTube, I muscle test it. If this is really in the highest and best good for myself to listen to this. There were quite a few where I thought, hey, this sounds really great. I want to use that. And then when I muscle tested, my body was like, that's not good for you right now. So I really love to do that. And it's all about trusting yourself, right? The same if you have someone who does sound or voice healing. We have a friend who does voice healing, and when I listen to her voice, I can feel it. Like my son was listening to it and he was like, oh, now I feel happy, like this feels really good. Where someone else was like, it doesn't resonate with me, I don't know if this works. So it's not like a complete science. It really is, and inviting us to trust our intuition and what we're listening to. I am wondering though, and here's where I would love your opinion on that. With all of like the concerts out there and the mainstream pop music, I mean, some of it is absolutely ridiculous. How anyone is using that as TikTok background music or is even listening to it is beyond me. But a lot of people feel still drawn to it and don't even realize that it's almost like a spell. Like you can cast spells with music if you're not aware.
Yes,
With
yes.
sound, with words, you can cast. I mean, people say this is witchy and new earth. No, it actually makes sense. If everything is frequency, then you can cast spells, just like the Bible says, use your tongue for either you can use it for good or for bad because of the frequency. And I believe that a lot of the pop music nowadays, looking at Sam Smith, I mean, this dude is like out of this world at this point. There is cast spelling going on. The way he orchestrates his music, it's like people are entranced to listen to it. And it's possible.
There's elements of the music business that are very, very dark. I remember when I was just getting into the world of becoming a professional musician, and I went to a party of a new label setting up, and I walked into that party, and the atmosphere was like really heavy, and I was into drinking and smoking, like partying like anybody else, but this was like really dark, heavy.
Yeah.
And I walked in, there was two identical twins doing a lesbian floor show. And I walked into another room. There was cocaine all over the tables. There's people with needles hanging out of their arms. And I walked into another room, and the people just acting like maniacs. And then I walked out and sat outside. And my friend who was introducing me to this guy who's running the label, he said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "I can't do that. I can't be in with those people. That is just too dark for me. It's just too. It's not." I'll go in and party. I don't mind drinking the house dry. I don't mind smoking the house dry. I'll do all of that business. But this is really heavy. And I remember hearing, I was in a band with a group of guys over in Hackney. And I used to go over there, and we used to do little tours of the UK. And standing outside of a club and listening to the bass and the bass drum hit, he come out of the club wall. Is like... And then I did some research into that. I go, what was that noise? And what they do is they detune the bass and the bass drum, so it's a really dissonant sound, and it actually causes damage to your internal organs. So there's people being pushed, this sound coming onto them, goes in clubs where they're being damaged. You think about now when I do, this is what's so important to me, which is why I do all of this work we're doing, and then everything that I do, and I want to help anybody who's doing this work, because I'm seeing the elderly in where I work, like the 80s, sort of mid 70s, 80s. They turn around their health quite quickly with breathing exercises, gentle movement, a bit of fun. As I like, a bit of fun, but the sound toning, I get them doing. They all think it's really funny, but you can see the room changing. But the people just below that who came where McDonald's and all these kind of things were introduced to them, lot different story. They can't turn it around so quickly.
And now we can go right into frequency of food.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all connected.
Like if you start what you're putting into your body.
Yeah, what you muscle test. Like if you really connect to your heart and start muscle testing, if you have to drop out of your head into your heart when you muscle test, and be okay with whatever whatever comes through from your body and trust it. The more you do it, the less you actually need to muscle test, because your body automatically responds to your question. Like you start feeling it. I don't have to muscle test much anymore. I just know, because I'm so trained of a decade of doing, muscle testing. You just know. But yeah, it is very interesting. Yeah, my brother used to DJ when he was younger, and oh my God, it was always so bad at home because he would have this, I love a good techno house music. I'm not totally opposed to it, but I can't do it for very long because then my body gets really heavy. Same with heavy metal. I can't do it at all because that literally, it's almost like, just like you say, it feels like it's ripping apart cells. And but when that happens, we have there is, and again, that is a spiritual understanding of the world. We give ways to entities and other frequencies to come into our space. We're damaging our bioelectroenergetic field. This way, bioelectroenergetic field, like we know that it scientifically is proven that it starts with the heart, goes around us, right, and then goes all the way down to our feet and comes back up. That's why we say the heart is the center.
Yes.
And if we have these influences, no matter what it is, if it doesn't align with us, it's like it's poking holes into our support and protective system, like this protective wall around us. And the more there are holes, the more we take on. It could be fractions of souls, that we use fractions of our own souls and can't hold them, or that we take on other people's fragments of souls. All of that is possible because of the frequency that we're exposed to. If it's through music, if it's through words, if it's through thoughts, if it's through what we read, that's very important to understand. Like anything that we're exposing ourselves to creates an impact on a spiritual as well as on a molecular cellular level.
Bruce Lee said that so well. I'll paraphrase him. He says, your brain doesn't know what you think or what you say, but what it will do, take it literally. So if you say, oh, I'm so rubbish at this, brain, oh yeah, okay, you're rubbish at this, you can't do it. He was so tuned with the Tao philosophy from his martial arts background, and it's so important to do all of that, is make sure. They say that in the Vedas as well, like you said, in the Bible, said just talk about you and your journey, your spiritual journey. And some people, like in the Vedic philosophy, religions that stemmed out of that, many religions stemmed out of the Vedic philosophies. They think it's like a devotional services to doing rituals and things like that. To me, it's about you connecting more with what I would call your super soul, the God spark inside of you. I feel that we have a conditioned soul inside of us and a super soul inside of us, and it's about getting that conditioned soul unconditioned towards the super soul, so that we realize what we are, rather than this frequency is messing all of that connection up. And that's why you need to get away, find what you need inside of yourself to get away from all of this noise and connect more with yourself. And that's the essence of spirituality, I feel, on this world today. And I think we're losing the grounded human feel to this enormously. Mm-hmm. And all this talk about, like you were mentioning earlier, light talk and all this other stuff, to me, it just becomes noise. It's about, it doesn't matter what label it is. I was having a conversation with an artist who is going to be playing the Conscious Music Festival. I'm not sure about, conscious, this word. I said, you're attached to this word conscious for some reason. Let it go. And yes, every human being on the planet is conscious, but there are degrees of consciousness. And what I feel our work is to obviously raise our consciousness, not raise tune it in. I think it's more tuning in. It's not raising, it's tuning in your consciousness and helping other people to tune in their consciousness to themselves. Because like you say, we are the antenna. And I just want to say this about muscle testing. This is dowsing.
Yes.
Is this conversation good for me? And it's saying, oh, yes, big yes. There you go.
Yeah, I don't use dowsing that much because I realized I manipulate myself too much.
Yeah, but my friend does it. Yeah, I know. I don't use it. It's just there now.
But I do like it. Yeah, if someone else uses it, they are not attached to the outcome and then focus on you and ask the question this way. That works more for me. When I do it myself, I realize that sometimes friend
of mine goes down the supermarket aisle saying, how many times has this lettuce been sprayed? 20 times. No. 15 times, no. 12 times, yes. I'm not going to have that one. Then it goes down.
I tend to do that with muscle testing as well. I ask the same questions, very similar. What happened to this one? And can I do this? Because everything is connected. And because of that interconnectedness, we can communicate on a frequency level. I talk about it in my film, The Power of Connection. If we were to take every physical matter away, there would just be different frequencies that are held together. Like we would show up in a frequency with, similar to the chakra system. And this is how we would be more easily attract to other frequencies that resonate with our field. So it doesn't mean that our energy is all over the place, because we're still, everything is held together by energy. So we all have very various and different and unique levels. Like when we talk about frequency, there's not just one, there's so much in between, and we all operate on these very slightly variations of frequency, right? That holds us together as a physical being.
Cymatics. It is cymatics.
Yeah. So we talk about it as well. What if our physical matter would just be gone? Would we still feel as separated? No, we wouldn't, because we would only work on that energetic frequency level and how we're simply attracted to each other due to where we're at with our awareness, with our consciousness, right?
Yeah. Well, there are lots of people talking about the material world. I love the way that the Tao philosophy taught it through my Qigong practice of bringing the heavenly energy down and then bring the earth energy up, meeting in the heart. So you get an understanding of your physical being, having a human experience, but you are actually a spiritual being behind that. What comes down is behind that. And that's where I think a lot of us have got lost. I got lost, I must admit. I was well into the material world.
Yeah, me too.
Always knew there was something much deeper to it, but I thought, well, this is fun at the moment. And now, as I get a little bit older, still lots of life in me left, but I see actually there's a lot more to all these experiences I've had. And again, a thought in your brain is just a frequency. Yeah. And now the thoughts come back of experiences that I've had, which have been some of them have been quite traumatic and dark. They come back for healing. And I use that beautiful, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, Ho'oponopono, to heal that vibration that's still stuck inside of me from something in the past of allowing myself to be in that position, taking responsibility for being in that position, and then forgiving everybody around that position, which again, forgiveness is another frequency.
Yes, the same. Have you heard of Court of Atonement?
I think so. Yes.
Amy Joe, I love Court of Atonement. I tend to do that as well, especially if there's something going on with another person. I just go, do some Court of Atonement. So if anyone needs some tools, like Ho'oponopono is really, really great to shift your frequency. Court of Atonement is a very easy, simple tool to use. It's courtofatonement.com with I think her name is Amy Joe. I forgot what her last name is. She's a really, really beautiful person. And then with any of the other devices, if you want to use a Healy, test it for yourself. Does it resonate with me? Is it really working for me? Like for me, the Healy is phenomenal in working with my frequency. It just works. My son absolutely loves it. And then, of course, with any protective devices, muscle test. Start to trust yourself and what really resonates with yourself, and pay attention where especially frequency coming from music, coming from people that you're hanging out with, actually is manipulative frequency and could be considered brainwashing. Now people are like, yeah, conspiracy theory. No, it's actually real. It's possible. We know that MK Ultra exists, where they use frequency to change the frequency in your brain to manipulate how you think and how you feel, how you forget certain events that you're not supposed to remember. It's real. Like during the Nazi time, all of these experiments have been done on people. I mean, it's real. We can shut our ears and say, la, 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 I don't want to hear about it, but it is real. So with that said, really, we need to trust ourselves more.
Yeah, they drop the thoughts into your head, which is quite incredible. We can get past that. What we do is we got clear quartz crystals all around the house as well now that we clean, and that helps to stop the negative vibration. But it is all literally frequency that we're dealing with, and it is literally your frequency that's being diminished by all of the outside distractions, and you can get that frequency back, but you need to do some work. It doesn't just happen, and there's no magic pill or silver bullet that's going to save you. You have to just do it for yourself. And a lot of it is breathing as well, deep breathing. Breathing, when you think about the lung meridian, we spoke about a couple of shows ago, I think, with the thumb is for positivity, but also for peace inside of you. So you feel good, you feel positive, you feel peaceful. Yeah. And that's really where we need to be. So I get people coming onto the internet and go, blah, 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 blah. You go, wow, you are so angry. That's coming from a place of anger. I just wrote an article about arrested development. I personally feel, from my research, about 12,000 years ago, there definitely was a big cataclysm that happened on the earth. And I feel that human beings are still carrying
we have less than a minute. We have like 30 seconds at this point.
This is such a big
Sorry,
point.
So we do have to wrap up, and we need to continue this, especially breathing. Maybe breathing is another episode that we can do. But for now, I know you have your Conscious Music Festival coming up. Where can people find information about it?
www.consciousmusecollective.com.
Perfect. We'll put that in the comments. And for New Earth co-creators, please visit newearthcc.org for more information, what we're about, what we stand for, where you can join us online. So please check it out. That would be great. And with the Conscious Music Festival, we will post that in the comments as well so that people can get tickets. It's August 19th, correct?
I think it's the 18th or 19th. Yes. It's a Saturday.
Okay. I think it's
19th. Yeah.
Okay, 19th. Perfect. So we need people to sign up for that. Well, thank you so much for this beautiful conversation. I'm looking forward to the next one. We always could go on for hours, I know, but we try to keep it to about 30 minutes so that people have their attention span in listening. So it's great. Thank you so much. Everyone else, have a fantastic week ahead of you. Enjoy this beautiful summer wherever you're at, and we'll be back with another episode next week or in 2 weeks, because next week is 4th of July. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to do it, but that might be on. I know I will be gone. So we'll see how it's going to work out.
Yeah, it will do.
Anyway, sending so much peace and love, everyone.
Big
Together,
love to all of you.
We rise. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.